Hello, I'm Maria.
And I am Teresa.
We are both faculty members at the University of Calabria. I've been teaching physics for almost 20 years and I've recently started doing so in English. That's why I'm interested in CLIL and English medium instruction.
I now teach English at the university, but in my first life, I taught neuroanatomy to medical students in the United States. In this video, we would like to illustrate how using a foreign language to teach content, such as the situation with CLIL, can actually facilitate content learning and help content teachers cater to diversity.
Well, to start with, even in L1, students struggle to understand complex concepts and do not always master the complex language they need to speak and write about those concepts properly.
Traditionally, when we are teaching complex concepts, we teachers explain, talk, and explain some more, and students listen, sit, and listen some more.
Because that's how we ourselves learn complex concepts. Our teachers explain and we listen.
This traditional way of teaching often does not cater to all students. And at the exam, we see that many may not have a truly deep level understanding of the content.
And even worse, students are unable to use the language of physics properly to communicate about physics accurately.
Indeed, if students cannot use disciplinary discourse correctly to speak and write about disciplinary concepts precisely and accurately, can we be sure they have learned those disciplinary concepts well?
Even in L1, students need to master disciplinary discourse. Obviously, many students are not familiar with this use of language. In fact, unless schools have taught them or they come from families with a high level of education, they need to learn this academic way of using language. Unfortunately, most content experts do not realize that academic disciplinary discourse must be taught explicitly. When my Italian students must learn physics through English, I realized that since students already find physics difficult in L1, I cannot now simply use English to explain physics. That would make what is already difficult almost impossible.
Exactly. So if I cannot simply explain for 50 minutes, then I must find other ways to help my students understand complex content. So instead of me explaining, I design a series of tasks which use disciplinary discourse in combination with images, mind maps, graphs, videos, audios, infographics, etc., that all students work through to extract information. This means that input becomes multimodal, with all students paying attention to disciplinary discourse.
In addition, since students are learning through a foreign language, we encourage them to work together to discuss, negotiate, and co-construct their knowledge.
And to make sure they are all understanding the information and can use the language to communicate their understanding, we ask students, all of them, to frequently produce images, graphs, mind maps, and even infographic posters and videos, etc., accompanied by the proper discourse. This means that output is also multimodal.
Since all students are working through all the tasks and all are using disciplinary discourse to produce output, all students are learning both the complex disciplinary concepts as well as disciplinary discourse. CLIL brings on board all learners.
Traditionally, at the end of a content learning progression, students gain a sphere of knowledge. Now, with a learning progression that is built on a sequence of CLIL tasks and disciplinary discourse, students interact in different ways to gain the required knowledge. And we also frequently ask them to show their understanding through different modalities.
Thanks to multimodal input and output, CLIL cultivates pluriliteracies and also soft skills. These become added values in CLIL instruction, shown as this halo around the final sphere of knowledge. And again, since all learners are involved in all tasks, CLIL caters to diversity and provides all learners this added value halo. Definitely, when I use Italian to teach physics to Italian students, it's easy to forget that even in Italian, the language of physics is like a foreign language for Italian students. Even in the mother tongue, disciplinary discourse must be taught explicitly and systematically, like any foreign language. Now, when I, as a physicist, must teach physics through English, an explicitly foreign language, I realize that I must also help my students master the language of physics in English. They can't do it on their own.
In fact, with CLIL, content experts realize that if I, the content expert of physics or neuroanatomy, do not help my students learn the language of my discipline, who will? So, CLIL puts disciplinary discourse, language, at the center of the content learning agenda.
And besides, if I, an Italian, am killing myself to use English to teach physics to students whose mother tongue is not English, I must be sure that, at the end, all my students can use English well to speak and write about physics. Otherwise, why do I bother to teach complex content through a foreign language? And finally, many of the strategies which help CLIL students understand content, master disciplinary discourse in English, and gain pluriliteracies and soft skills can also be used with students in traditional L1 classrooms.
We hope that this short video has shown you how CLIL facilitates content learning and helps content teachers cater to diversity.
Buon lavoro.